He has run for 100 yards 8 times. The Colts have won 8 of those games. The Colts have 8 wins on the season. I mean, what else do you need to say that he is the most valuable player to his team? Welcome into another episode of The Chop Shop. I'm Trey Wingo here alongside my good buddy, Mark Schlereth. Here in The Chop Shop, we're partnering once again with our friends at Mercedes-Benz Sprinter Vans. Hey, when was the last time you seriously considered your dreams? I mean, come on, you used to think about them all the time. What happened? I say it's time that you and your dreams got back together. I mean, think about it. You could live the van life in a totally customized Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. You could tour all 423 national parks, build a mountain cabin with your dad, or even start up your own business. Really, whatever you want to dream up. And it's a Mercedes-Benz van we're talking about here, kids. So expect innovative safety features like crosswind assist and blind spot assist. Expect amazing performance and reliability with an MBUX voice command system, a 5-star dealer network, and an available gas engine. It runs like, well, a dream. So what do you say? Head to the Mercedes-Benz dealership and get that Sprinter van. Tell them your dream sent you. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome into a holiday edition of The Chop Shop. Trey Wingo here with Mark Schlereth. Stinky, I got into the mood. I'm semi-formal. Here's the cap. And you can see my holiday blazer.
Wow.
Like that? You like that?
That is special. I'm pretty much wearing the same thing I wear every single day. You know, I actually change my t-shirt and I do shower, but I keep the same sweatshirt on pretty much every day.
Yeah, shout out to my good friend John O'Donnell who runs Johnny O for this blazer. It's absolutely amazing. And with the gratuitous plug out of the way, let's get into it. First of all, I mentioned my holiday jacket. My holiday jacket is nice. Kurt Warner's jacket stole the weekend.
Oh my gosh. I like puffy jackets as much as the next guy likes puffy jackets.
Woo!
But the puffy silver jacket is like, did you go to space or was that Michael Strahan? I thought maybe I just was confused. Maybe it was you, Kurt Warner, who actually got launched into space last week.
Do you remember Rich Ornberger, the former offensive lineman?
Oh,
he had
sure.
a great tweet. He took Warner's jacket and put the old MTV Music Award astronaut guy right next to him.
Yeah.
It's like he turned into an MTV award, Kurt Warner did.
My daughter Avery came home for Christmas, and her little Italian Greyhound, it's about 8 pounds, and it's just spastic, and it's cold all the time. We were going to go take my granddaughter ice skating, and she had her in this silver jacket. I think I sent you a picture. And I thought Kurt Warner was in my living room. I was like, Kurt, is that you? Kurt Warner? No. She's got a silver puffy jacket. The little dog does.
My favorite thing about the whole thing, Kurt was like, hey, man, on Twitter, he's like, you're talking about my jacket. We got a game to talk about. I'm like, bro, you don't buy that jacket without knowing people will be looking at you going, we need to talk about that jacket.
Well, I just say from the word go, you got to have a set of onions to wear that jacket on national television. So,
or a gold jacket,
right?
If you get a gold jacket, then you get a pass on wearing that jacket.
Yeah, you get a pass on the silver jacket. I just tipped my cap. I would have gone, yeah, I'm not going to wear this. Not going to happen. So good for him.
All right, so let's move on. And the NFL is trying to move on, Mark, because the Omicron variant of the COVID-19 virus is now just going through locker rooms one at a time in the NFL. And look, we're all trying to avoid getting hit by a target we can't see at this point. So it's kind of a mess. We had 2 Tuesday night games because of this. We just found out when we're taping this that the Robert Saleh, the Jets head coach, is now tested positive for COVID, as well as 15 Jets are right now on the COVID protocol. So I guess the way to start this is it wouldn't surprise me if some of these games, potentially the Jets and maybe the Chiefs, depending on what happens there, if they get moved as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, right now, I think one of the things the NFL and, Commissioner Adam Silver from the NBA, they're all like, hey, man, this is something we're going to have to kind of manage and live with, and we're going to be able to move games and do those things. And, there's part of me that also feels like, based on the NFL saying, hey, we got to be vaccinated, we got to do all these things, they're kind of starting to look at this as almost like don't ask, don't tell. Like, hey, listen, if you're vaccinated and you're not having any symptoms, let's be as safe as we can, but the games are going to go on. So it just feels like that's kind of where we are right now. And
well, that's exactly where we are right now.
So
that's exactly like suddenly, remember all summer the NFLPA wanted testing every day.
Yeah.
And now they agree with the NFL. We don't need to test those guys.
Yeah.
good. It's all good.
Yeah,
So we are.
that's kind of where we're. I test every week,
Yeah.
and you get it, but I'm like, well, wait a minute. The last 2 weeks that I've done games, I was in New York for the Cowboys game last week,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, right now because of what's going on in the NFL, now we've gone back to Zoom meetings. We're not going into the facilities. I'm like, well, what, do I still need a test? I'm not going into the
Yeah.
facility. I'm not seeing anybody.
Yeah.
So, better safe than sorry, obviously, but yeah, it is. It's kind of crazy times, no question about it.
Speaking of crazy times, we had a couple of games yesterday because of crazy times. Let's start with the Rams. Big win over the Seahawks. 2 takeaways. One, Cooper Kupp is ridiculous, and apparently obvious PIs are never called against the Rams.
Yes, exactly.
I put the tweet up of the NFC Championship game against the Saints, and I said a blatant PI on the Rams not called. Weird, and there was Nickel Roby Coleman knocking over Lewis, and it got like 5,000 retweets. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they were looking at there. How do you not make that call, right?
I have no idea. I mean,
Yeah,
what do you say? I mean, he's all. What's the guy's name? Jones. He's all over.
yeah,
All over. So I mean, there is an element of human error, and we know that, but the bigger story is what Cooper Kupp is doing, obviously,
that's
and
right. Let's move on from human error to human excellence.
yeah, I mean Cooper Kupp in the last 6 games, he's got 74 targets in 6 games and 59 catches. 59 catches and 74 targets in the last 6 games. I mean, the pace and the mind melt. It was shocking last night when Matthew Stafford threw an interception and Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford weren't on the same page because we haven't
Yeah,
seen it. Like they are
yeah.
they're in this. I mean, they went to the University of Narnia together. They're in such a mind melt situation, and it just has been incredible to watch them work together, watch them orchestrate the offense together, and it's so much fun to watch, man. And the fact that Cooper Kupp is a wide receiver that actually plays tight end half the time because he's their blocking guy on the end of the line of scrimmage is insane to me.
Well, just a couple of numbers here. He has 90 or more receiving yards in 10 consecutive games. That breaks the tie he had with Hall of Famer Michael Irvin and now current Rand teammate Odell Beckham Jr. for the longest such streak in 70 years. He's the 4th game this year, Tuesday night, with 130 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns, tying for the second most ever in a season with Roy Green and Bobby Mitchell. Don Hudson has the most in 1942. So Don Hudson was an outlier in every way, shape, or form. He broke Isaac Bruce's single-season reception record for the Rams. Put some respect on Cooper Kupp's name. That's all we're saying. Like I know he doesn't look like the receiver that you think would be doing these things because he's a little guy. He's amazing. He's absolutely amazing, and you just have to appreciate what he's doing because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, his wide receiver coach Eric Yarber was my college teammate at the University of Idaho. And Eric
Yeah.
always tells him, he's like, dude, he's faster than you think. Like, he's a lot faster than you think. He's shiftier than you think. He goes, I always tell him, wear black shoes and look as slow as possible. We want you to look as slow as possible because you're going to sneak on people. And I tell you, he's phenomenal. The kid he's so much fun to watch. There's no question about it.
Then we move on to the other Tuesday night game, which was the Philadelphia Eagles taking on whatever was the Washington football team with all their COVID issues the other night. Jalen Hurtz is the real deal. It's different than most people are doing it, but that offense continues to crank out all kinds of yards. Now, I think the slow start to the season is going to hurt them in the end because all Dallas needs, and we'll get to Dallas in a second, is a win Sunday against Washington to clinch the division and thus guarantee a home playoff game. But Philadelphia's going to be interesting come playoff time if they can continue to produce offensively the way they are.
Yeah, they are so unique. Well, first and foremost, man, their run game is so unique. And then you create a bunch of easy play action stuff off their run game. But they have, like, up front, what they do. Dallas Goedert, tight end, can block the end of the line of scrimmage, is a great receiver. But I think that they have such versatility because they can play the smash mouth game with you. They can get outside. They can use the pin and pull their guards, pull their center. They're incredibly athletic, so they're great at the second level. Their guards and their centers can get up on linebacker/safeties and dominate them, 12 yards deep in the defensive backfield. So they've just got this unique balance of their run game. They can attack you with power, attack you with speed, quickness, and leverage. And so that makes them incredibly hard to defend when it comes to the running game. And then obviously Jalen Hurtz and what he's doing, running the ball, the play action stuff that comes off of that. They're a tough out. I can't believe I called the game in New York when they lost to the Giants. And that to me was kind of almost their chance to win the NFC East. I just didn't think there was any
Correct.
way they're going to lose that game because they're really a tough football team.
You called the Cowboys game Sunday. They won, and it
Mhm.
was it was a win. You never apologize for a win. What did you like about what you saw in Dallas, and what didn't you like?
Well, what Dan Quinn's got that defense, the way he's got that defense playing, Trey, it's they had some COVID issues, so they lost some players, but they have incredible depth and rotation up front with their front four. They've got two edge rushers in DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory that can really play. Odigizua inside did not play, but he is outstanding. And they've got this versatility. So one of the things that's really hard when you play offense is a team that has a ton of versatility being able to ID the defense. Because you walk up the line of scrimmage and you want to say, hey, this is what they're in. This is who we have to block. This is the guy that plays Mike. This is the guy that plays Sam. This guy plays Will. That guy's a D end. And all of a sudden you see DeMarcus Lawrence is playing nose guard or D tackle. And you got Leighton Vander Esch playing defensive end. And you got Micah Parsons is all over the place. They are so good and they're so instinctual. Like they really understand what they're doing. So the Giants ran this little pick stunt and they had Anthony Brown, the cornerback, and Micah Parsons in man to man. They motioned a running back out there and they ran this perfect pick stunt. And so Galladay runs this rail route right down the sideline. And the running back, it was Booker who came over and picked Anthony Brown. And it's touchdown. Micah
Yeah.
Parsons just instantly sees it, off like a shot, defends it at the goal line, knocks it away. You know how hard it is when you're in man coverage and you're in man on that back, and all of a sudden they run that pick, and you're able to process in your mind, my guy just got picked. There's no way he can keep. And then all of a sudden you have the speed, athleticism, and the instinct to turn and just run to a junction point, understanding what that route is going to be and defend it. Like it's stuff that just doesn't happen. And all of a sudden, with this kid as a rookie, he's like, "Oh yeah, I got that. Oh, you need me to rush the passer and get sacked? Yeah, I can do that. Oh, you need me to defend the run? Yeah, I got that. Oh, you need me to play Mike, Sam, Will? I can do all that." It's incredible what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball, Trey.
Yeah, I think that people don't understand. Like Micah's a part-time edge rusher, and maybe even less part-time now with Gregory and Tank Lawrence back. If he was a full-time edge rusher, he'd probably be close to setting the single season record that Strahan has at 22 and a half. If he played linebacker the entire time, he'd probably lead the league in tackles and forced fumbles. I mean, that's how versatile this guy is. And I think that's the thing that's sort of lost in everything. What's the one thing you don't like about him?
It's got to be where they are offensively right now. And,
Yeah.
I tried to talk to Dak about, hey, the injury and, hampered a little bit. And since week 6, you pulled that calf, you had the bye week, you missed week 8, you came back. The offense hasn't been the same since that time. He's having none of it, man. Absolutely not. No way, no shape, no how. I feel great. I've never felt better. I'm ready to roll. But they're just out of sync. They're out of sync in the passing game, a little bit out of sync in the running game as well. They really wanted to work against the Giants about reestablishing the outside run, and they did that. They had a lot of pin and pull stuff. They did a good job of capturing the edge of the line of scrimmage, and both Zeke Elliott and Pollard did a good job on the edge. So that was something that at least they captured. They got that back, but they still have strides that they have to make, kind of combining that run game and creating some play action off of that. The one thing that that you keep kind of looking at, saying, "Hey, man, Tyron Smith has missed 4 games.
Yeah.
Gallup has missed a game. CeeDee Lamb's missed a game. Amari
Amari
Cooper's missed
Cooper had
2.
some COVID issues.
Yeah, he missed 2 games. So there's been a little bit lack of continuity on the offensive side of the ball. But the defense is bailing them out right now. They have to be better on the offensive side. They have to figure it out offensively.
Yeah, they do. And by the way, one thing about the Cowboys, they are 9-0 in conference play. The last team to pull that off was the Philadelphia Eagles in conference, and they went on to play in Super Bowl 39. So just keep that in mind. That's how dominant they've been in conference this year for the Dallas Cowboys. What is it about Tampa Tom and his inability to beat the Saints with a shutout win? And we'll get into the shutout in a second, Stink. With a shutout win by the Saints in Tampa last night, or Sunday night rather, the Bucs. This is their record when they don't play the Saints with Tom Brady as their starting quarterback. 24-5, including playoffs, against every other team. 1-4, including playoffs, against the Saints. They've swept them twice, and obviously the Bucs won the playoff game a year ago in New Orleans. Is every other team in the league calling the Saints and what are you doing? How do you beat this guy? What are you doing? Tell me about it.
Yeah, they have to. I think there's a couple of things, and I've done both a bunch of Bucs games and a bunch of Saints games, and there's a couple of things that set the Saints apart that they struggle with. There's some teams that you just don't match up well against, and for whatever reason, personnel or scheme, but they've had a tough time blocking their front. David Onyemata is a beast inside. Davenport is playing as well as any D end in football right now. Cameron Jordan, they just don't have an answer for him. And then Demario Davis is great. I think one of the other, what's their nickel? It's not Roby Coleman.
Gardner Johnson.
Gardner Johnson. He is a chess piece for them and he's really taken away, he's good in playing the run, but really taken away that intermediate inside passing game. They just have their number. And there are those teams, Trey, that no matter how good you are or how hard you work or whatever, they just match up well against you. And I've had a couple of those teams. The Giants were that way for me when I played for Washington. Always just a really difficult matchup. So there are some of those teams. The Chargers, even though we beat the Chargers all the time offensively, we struggled against the Chargers defense back in the day when they had Perella and they had Jamal Williams and they had Junior Seau and Kirk Gavea and Rodney Harrison. It was just a really hard matchup for us. And so, luckily their offense just sucked, but defensively they were really good. So
okay, so here's the question for the Bucs though, right? Because they lost 9-0. For people that don't understand how rare that was, the last time the Tom Brady led offense was shut out was the start of the 2003 season when the Bills beat them 31-0. They lose at home where they had been unbeaten and averaged at least 30 points per game. They don't score a single point. Leonard Fournette on injured reserve. Chris Godwin is out no matter what happens in the postseason. How much damage did that game alone do to the Bucs' Super Bowl chances?
Yeah, I think it hurts quite a bit. Leonard Fournette, he's been a beast, and they don't. Them. They're going to sit down and they're going to throw the ball most of the time with Tom Brady, but Leonard has been a beast. And come playoff time last year, it was really, to me, a lot of it was the running game and the play action stuff that came off the running game that really helped them roll to the Super Bowl. Godwin is a problem. I think they can replace to a degree Leonard Floyd.
Fournette.
Godwin is the issue. Godwin is not only is he kind of their slot guy, their go-to guy, but he is their play action guy. He is their insert guy in the running game. He does a lot of things for them that probably he makes a big impact on the game when he doesn't touch the ball. And that to me is how do you replace that stuff? And those are the things. He's the guy that I think is really concerning for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, one thing that'll help, Antonio Brown is back, and God bless Bruce Arians for his honesty, who once last year said, don't want him on our team, and if he makes one more mistake, he's gone. Well, he gave around fake vax cards and was suspended. They asked him if he's coming back and playing, and Arians said yes, and they asked him why, and he said, because it's in the best interest of the football team. Hey, I appreciate the freaking honesty, man. Right. We all know that if Antonio Brown was the third or fourth string wide receiver, he's not on the team. It's desperate times call for desperate measures, and the more talented you are, the longer the leash always is. That's never changed, and it's never going to change.
100%. And I'm with you. I think that Antonio, to be fair, he probably didn't know that creating fake vax card. I mean, listen, you get your information from Rogan, and you get your information from your cook. Who didn't know your cook wasn't the best place to get a vax card? You know what? Now we all know. We've all been educated. So thank you, Antonio Brown.
Not only that, but if Antonio Brown ever paid his debts, we'd never hear about any of these problems. Let's just be honest about that. Pay people and your life would be a lot easier, Antonio. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, have the Cardinals taken a break? Why can't they get it going anymore? And you lost to Detroit? Stay with us. Chop Shop coming back. No two dreams are the same, but there is one van equipped to handle them all. For over 120 years, Mercedes-Benz vans have been built, upfitted, and ready to go because we believe dreams should never stay that way. Because those who find their passion drive their passion. So you can stop following your dreams and start driving them. Overcoming the odds, rewriting the playbook, delivering under pressure. The MVPs of small business lead their teams to victory all year long. Visa's proud to provide playmakers everywhere with more tools to help grow their business and help them achieve even greater success. Because the more people we can empower, the more we all win. Visa, a network giving small businesses tools to grow. Hey, welcome into our new weekly segment, Trey's Trends, presented by Caesar Sportsbook. Now, Caesar Sportsbook is the greatest sports betting app of all time, people. Why? Patience. I'm about to tell you, because Caesars makes everyone feel like an emperor. When you place your bets win or lose, you earn more with Caesar Rewards. Dining, getaways, stays, so many perks. Now, let me explain what that means. You see, in our world, Caesar isn't the only emperor. You see, if you check the spelling, there is no apostrophe in Caesars. Why is that? It's because everyone who downloads the app is treated like an emperor. We are all Caesars. Caesar Sportsbook is the only sportsbook app with Caesar's Rewards, which means win or lose, you'll earn reward credits with every single wager. Redeem those credits for sports tickets, dining, getaways, and more. Presented for the people by Caesar Sportsbook. Here's a little sneak peek in what you can learn if you watch Trey's Trends on the Caesar Sportsbook social media and YouTube channels. Just some information that might help you out when you're deciding where to place your money. Look, no AFC teams have clinched a playoff spot, making this the first time since 2002 that the AFC will enter Week 16 with no teams having clinched a playoff spot. That sets up a pair of colossal division games this week, and we start with the 8-6 Bills traveling to Foxborough to take on the 9-5 Patriots with the AFC East title hanging in the balance. New England starts the week as a 1.5-point favorite. Why? Well, Bill Belichick does have a 36-7 record against the Bills, including that Monday night win Week 13 where Mac Jones threw all of 3 passes, the fewest in a game since 1974. That's why. Every team in the AFC North has either 7 or 8 wins. Sunday, the Bengals are 2.5-point favorites at home over the Ravens. Now, each of the last 4 meetings between these two has been decided by 24 points or more, including that big Bengals win 41-17 in Baltimore in Week 7. That loss started a 3-5 stretch for the Ravens, which wasted their 5-1 start out of the gate. Find more of Trey's Trends at Caesar Sports on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, with new episodes dropping every Friday. 21 or older, 18 or older in D.C., must be located in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Maryland, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, or Washington, D.C. Sports betting is void in Georgia, Hawaii, Ohio, and Utah and other states where it's prohibited. Know when to stop before you start. Illinois, Maryland, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. Or in West Virginia, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Colorado, D.C., and Nevada, call 1-800-522-4700. Indiana, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Iowa, call 1-800-BETS-OFF. Louisiana, call 1-877-770-STOP. Michigan, call 1-800-270-7117. Tennessee, call or text TN Redline at 1-800-889-9789. Virginia, call 1-888-532-3500. Copyright 2021, Caesars Entertainment. Coming soon to New York. Gambling problem? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. All right, welcome back to the Chop Shop. Trey Wingo here with Mark Schlereth, our pre-Christmas holiday edition. Mark, as you know, we are sponsored by our good friends at Mercedes-Benz, especially the Sprinter vans who help reconnect you with your dreams. And what a dream Sunday it was for Man Campbell. No need to break kneecaps, just found a way to break the Arizona Cardinals in a huge win, their second win of the year.
Yeah, he was not breaking kneecaps, he was breaking jaws. They were, breaking jaws and shortening necks. Physically pummeling the Arizona Cardinals. I had an idea that this game might not go well for Arizona when Kyler Murray came out in Honolulu blue shoes. You come out with, you're tempting the football gods. You come out with the opponent's shoe color, you're going to be in deep trouble. And he went in and changed those at some point. But, it's interesting. I think one of the things that happens to you, Trey, when you're good and you win a lot, there's a couple things that happen to you. The attention to detail wanes a little bit, right? Hey, man, we can't make that mistake when we're playing a good team, or hey, we got to clean that up. And you're like, oh, yeah, we'll clean that up. We'll clean that up. The other thing is when you play with a lead a bunch, you know what it does? Like defensive players, let's face it, just between us, defensive players, one, are dumb, and two, they're selfish, right? I mean, we all know that. That's 100%. There's nothing we can do about that. It's just the way it is. But when you play with a lead a lot, it creates this selfishness of I want to compile stats, I want to go get sacks, I want to make the difference, I want to do all those things. And what ends up happening is when you face a team like Detroit that just tried to shove it down your gullet, you're off your point. You're pass rushing on a rundown. You're creating what I call a picket fence or a swinging gate and a picket fence. One guy is actually playing the run. The other guy's rushing the passer. Now there's a big gaping chasm that you run through and you get to the second level. And then it's about, can you make a guy miss in space? Like that to me is one of those things that happens to you when you play with a lead, is that you don't really play, both sides of it. You don't play the run and the pass. You're just trying to get statistics. You're trying to get sacks. You're trying to get interceptions. And I think they have been, so, especially on the road, they've been so good on the road that they haven't had to play both sides of the fence, so to speak. So I think that's one of the things they have to really get back to, kind of that attention to detail when it comes to the way they defend people.
Real quickly before we move on, something to watch for Arizona, okay? Over the last 3 seasons under Cliff Kingsbury, they're 15-5-1 through the first 7 weeks of the season. They're 8-17 after that. So what we're seeing here from the Cardinals with these 2 straight losses is what we've seen the last couple of years. We'll see if they can turn it around now, because that division is very much in play with the Rams' big win over the Seahawks on Tuesday. Kudos to John Harbaugh. Like, I love the fact that he went for it in 2 of the last 3 games, down a point, needing a 2-point conversion to tie, and that in that loss to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, which clinched the NFC North for them. But Mark, I hated the play call. I hated the play call because when you roll out to the right like that, you're essentially cutting half the end zone out of play. And if you watch that replay as he's trying to throw it to Andrews, as soon as he rolls to the right, Darnell Savage is so smart. He makes a beeline for Andrews, because Andrews and I think one other player were the only other players that Hundley was even throwing the football to. They eliminated half the field. I love the idea of going for it, because he was like, look, if we tie this game, Aaron Rodgers has 42 seconds and a timeout. They're going to kick a field goal to win the game. Let's make them try and kick a field goal to beat us with the lead, because we're with our backup quarterback and we have a depleted secondary. Let's try and win the game right here. I love the call. I love the decision. I hated the call.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that. There's that whole kind of concept, and you go back to the West Coast Bill Walsh days, a sprint right option, and every one of us has run it a million times. It's an easy protection scheme. I love what I love is putting guys in conflict. So what I want to do is I want to fake a run and make you have to say, okay, are we going to defend that run? And if we're going to defend that run, now all of a sudden I leak somebody out, or I can get, that high-low kind of create that high-low conflict, and somebody running the back end line, somebody running the front end line. I just like Harbaugh. I understand the call. I mean, I guess I'm just more conservative. I want to tie the game so I can get it in overtime, but I'm not angry at him for making the call. But I'm with you. And the call before was also, the couple weeks before was also to Andrews. So at some point,
that play was there, by the way. Lamar just missed him. Like, that play was there. He just missed him.
Right. I think at some point you got to change the change the main target, if you will, right? Break some of your own tendencies. So, but I understand going to your best players too. I just, it's hard. It's one of the reasons though that the guys love playing for John Harbaugh. I mean, but seriously though, what are you going to say as a player if your coach comes to you and says, "Hey, you guys want to go for it?" No,
That's all so scripted for the cameras. Like, what do they expect? No, coach, I don't believe in myself.
Right. No, coach, I'd rather let him win it. It's right.
Come on, man.
Nobody ever. Like when you were a kid playing hoops in your own yard.
Yeah.
You did. You're back and forth. It's just you, right? You didn't go 5, 4, 3, 2, pass it to the other guy. You took the freaking shot.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah. Winners want the ball, as they said in the
Right.
replacements. We always say, and the Chiefs have validated this, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. I think there are a couple teams out there, one in the NFC and one in the AFC, that look like they're going to make it into the postseason or have a say in who gets into the postseason. I don't think anybody wants to play those teams right now. And that would be the San Francisco 49ers and the Colts. Let's start with the Colts, because we always know what the MVP really is. It's the best player, normally 99% of the time a quarterback on the best team. That's what the MVP is at this point in the NFL. But if you really believe in the term valuable, Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Colts, is the MVP of the league. He has run for 100 yards 8 times. The Colts have won 8 of those games. The Colts have 8 wins on the season. I mean, what else do you need to say that he is the most valuable player to his team?
Yeah. I am not a mathematician, nor am I smart, but it seems that
you went to Harvard or the Northwest, Idaho.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
It seems that those things line up. They're congruent, right? If you run for 100+ yards, you win. I don't know. It seems to make sense to me. They are so physical. I mean, come on. When you win a game, this is why you always say this, and I couldn't agree with you more. Quarterback stats or quarterback win losses are ridiculous. Carson Wentz goes 5 of 12.
He was terrible. He was flat out
terrible. He should have thrown 4 picks. I mean, 5 of 12. And you still find a way to beat New England, who's won,
on a 7-game winning streak. 7 straight.
7 straight. I mean, it just is incredible what they were able to do. But Jonathan Taylor, how he affects the game, I mean, that the physical nature and the things and San Francisco's the same way. When you can dominate physically, things that travel well in the playoffs, you play great defense, you physically wear people out. I'll go back and I'll argue with anybody. Last year's playoff run for every team. Show me the team that won the battle of the trenches. Show me the team that did that. I'll show you the team that won 100% of the playoff games. Playoff football is just different. It just is.
Yep.
And those 2 teams are 2 teams that nobody wants in. And if they get in, nobody wants to face.
Yep. I totally agree. And oh, by the way, speaking of running backs, as a wide receiver, Deebo Samuel makes a really good one. He has 7 rushing touchdowns. That leads any other running back on the 49ers by 2. He's trying to become the first wide receiver since the AFL-NFL merger of 1970 to lead his team in rushing touchdowns. And I think he's going to do it. So keep an eye on those 2 teams down the stretch of the season. Buddy, it is always good to talk to you. Have a wonderful holiday. Have a very Merry Christmas. And we'll talk to you next week. All right?
All right, buddy. Merry Christmas. Enjoy.
And thanks again to our friends over at Caesars Sportsbook. Remember to visit Caesars.com to see if sports betting is available where you live.